guys, so in this video I wanted to say a few words about pedal point harmony, which has been used in jazz since about the 1960s. But first I wanted to discuss a simple but important concept which can be stated as follows. The denser your harmony is, the more restricted your solo. Or to put this more simply, the more notes you play in your chords, the more notes there are for your solo to clash with, by playing dissonant intervals like minor seconds or tritones above one of the chord tones. So if I play a 7-note chord, like this for example, that means there are 7 notes with which the soloist can clash, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he or she has to tread carefully. But if I play a chord with 2 notes, so for example a shell chord like C and E, then there are only 2 notes with which the soloist can clash. So the soloist has much more room to maneuver and has more notes to choose from or to use that won't clash with that underlying harmony or the chord that I'm playing. Now taking that example, so the shell chord of C and A, the 2 notes that will sound really unpleasant and really clash with that underlying shell chord are the notes D flat and B flat. Right, so the notes a semitone above or a minor ninth above the chord tones. Right, that sounds really unpleasant. So as long as the soloist avoids those 2 notes, he or she can more or less use any of the other 10 notes in the octave, and it will sound okay, some better, some worse, but those 2 in particular sound really dissonant. And this is why bebop pianists often played just really simple shell chords with just 2 or 3 notes, leaving more room for the harmonically complex soloing. And I've got a separate video on Bud Powell style chord voicings, which essentially explains exactly that. Now, taking this idea to the logical conclusion, if I play only 1 note in the harmony, that is, if I play a pedal point or a repeating note, then there is only 1 note for the soloist to clash with. So he or she is even more free to maneuver and has even more notes at his or her disposal. And taking this one step further again, if there is no harmony whatsoever, then the soloist is literally free to play whatever he or she wants without worrying about clashing with any kind of harmony. So taking a step back again, playing 1 single note again and again, so repeating it, is the idea behind pedal point harmony. It's designed to give the soloist as much room as possible to improvise while still providing a tonal center to resolve to and some kind of underlying harmony or accompaniment. So since jazz was created in the early 20th century, the trend has been towards freer and less restrained improvisation. Very generally, jazz has progressed from tonality to modality to pedal point harmony all the way through to atonality. Now, when soloing over a tonal song, your solo has to adhere to a particular chord progression by more or less tracing out those chords. When soloing over a modal song, your solo has to adhere to a particular scale or mode by sticking primarily to that scale or mode. But when soloing over a pedal point, you can use all 12 notes freely, but your pedal point still acts as a root note to which you occasionally have to resolve. And even though this is not what the lesson's about, but to sort of give you the full picture, when soloing over an atonal song, that is a song without a tonal center, you can use all 12 notes freely, and there is no root note to which you have to resolve. Now, I have other videos on tonality and modality, so this video is just covering the idea of pedal point harmony relatively quickly. So pedal point harmony occurs when the rhythm section does not play a strict written out chord progression. Now, this doesn't mean that no chords are played. Chords are improvised over that pedal point, so really the only constant in your song is the pedal point. The soloist improvises a melody using all 12 notes, occasionally resolving to that pedal point note. And the rhythm section improvises a chord progression, occasionally resolving to a chord that contains the pedal point as a chord tone. So for example, if our pedal point is the note G, you could resolve to the chords C major 7 or E minor 7 or G major 7 or A7. Write all chords that have the note G in them. And so instead of having that written out chord progression, the rhythm section plays a single root note or an ostinato pattern which clearly indicates the root note. For example, in the song Miles Runs the Voodoo Down, there's a repeating ostinato bass line that continues more or less unchanged through most of the song, and it goes something like this. So that would also be considered a pedal point harmony. So instead of playing a single note repeated again and again, we have a little simple ostinato, which clearly outlines the F as the tonal center, because that's the first note we play on beat 1 of every second bar. And we also repeat the note. Right, so a song uses pedal point harmony if there is no written out chord progression and it has some kind of pattern or bass line or ostinato or riff that repeats more or less through the entire song and clearly outlines a single tonal center. Now, this is what I'd call pure pedal point harmony, and it includes songs like Lonely Woman by Ornette Coleman, which has a D pedal point, In a Silent Way by Miles Davis, which has an E pedal point, and Miles Runs the Voodoo Down, which is the thing I just played, also by Miles Davis, which has an F pedal point. And also the song Shh, Peaceful, also by Miles Davis and also on the album In a Silent Way. Now, there are also songs which combine actual written out chords with a pedal point, but these are more of just a combination of pedal point and tonal or modal harmony. Now, the use of pedal points and drones in jazz actually reflects the influence of Indian music, which kind of infiltrated jazz in the 1960s and 70s. And so it's used in genres like free jazz and post-bop and especially fusion. And so that, in a nutshell, is pedal point harmony. So because the harmony contains only one note, it allows the soloist much greater freedom to improvise compared to tonal or modal harmony, while still retaining a tonal center. Cool, and that's it for me for this video. Thanks again for watching, and see ya!